welcome to Kankakee Podcast, where we talk about the people and places of Kankakee County. I'm Jake LaMore, and welcome to this bonus episode where we're going to learn something exciting about KCC today. Now, back in March of this year, we were very humbled to have Kankakee Community College Continuing Education and Business Partnerships be our title sponsor for the month of March. And they're actually still a sponsor with us through most of the year. And we're currently welcoming the director, who is Gina Greene, to the podcast. Welcome.
Hi, Jake. How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you. Are you originally from the area, or are you a transplant?
Yeah, I'm a transplant.
Okay.
So I grew up in Northwest Iowa, ended up in Central Illinois after college, and have lived out here almost 17 years.
How did you end up in Kankakee?
Initially, I was an athletic trainer and ended up out in the Watsika area with an athletic training job there, and have since transitioned into the area of training and continuing education.
That's wild to me because I feel like they're so different, or maybe they're not. I don't know.
I love education. Like, I love being able to teach. And so I actually had an undergrad in education as well. And so they just kind of paired well together. And so I still do athletic training on the side.
Okay. I was going to say, as an athletic trainer, what?
Yeah. So like
exactly?
If you're at a sporting event, it's the person who's going to take care of any medical needs of the athletes who are there.
So injuries.
Yep. Can also work in other arenas as well, like workplace safety, which kind of pairs with what we do.
Okay. Now I'm seeing the parallels.
Yeah. So like whether it be OSHA training, CPR training, that's kind of how I got exposed to this line of work. And so that's how I ended up there.
So how long have you been the director of?
Just coming up on a year.
Okay.
Just coming up on a year.
And how old is that division of KCC?
At least 25 years, a little over 25, because one of my predecessors was in that role for about 25 years. So for sure 27, we'll say.
Okay.
that division has been there.
So a long time at this point.
Long time.
And there's still people that aren't super familiar with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And may not even know it exists.
Correct. So. Or know all of what we do, right?
Yeah.
You might know some of what we do, but not all of what we do.
Well, I mean, continuing education and business partnerships, there's a lot to dissect in there.
Yes.
So what does continuing education mean? You know, if people have been listening to Kankakee Podcast and they've heard the ads about, this is training for you and your team to help build your business, any size, it doesn't matter what size of a company you are, you can benefit from working with the continuing education and business partnerships. So yeah, what does all that mean?
Yeah, so we'll start with the business partnership side, because that's a lot of what we've been promoting through our title sponsorship. So on the business partnership side, we do a lot of customized training. So if a business needs OSHA training, they need CPR training, maybe they have individuals who need computer training, those are things that we can provide to the business either on site or at KCC. We can also do leadership and management training. So if they have some emerging leaders in their business and they want to take some training that way, we can provide that either on site or at KCC. So one of the exciting things for us right now is we have a grant through the Illinois Community College Board that allows us to offset some of those costs. So it can be expensive to do OSHA training, leadership training.
Yes. Yeah, none of that's cheap.
Yeah, and nobody wants to have to spend that money. So right now we have some grant funds that can help offset those costs. So if a business has been waiting, maybe they want to do some leadership training, but just haven't had the funds to be able to do that, we'd love them to reach out to us, and we'd be able to help them with the costs of that training, and really find out what their needs are when it comes to training. Again, any size business, so it doesn't have to be a big, 500 employee business. It can be a business with 2 people, and they maybe need CPR training. That's something they can contact us for.
So how does the grant work then for payment? Is it something they have to apply for, or?
Yeah, so we already have the grant. The grant was awarded to KCC, to our department specifically. Has to be non-credit. So our funds can't be used if somebody wanted to take, say, a class on the credit side. There's other funding mechanisms for that. So this is specifically for the classes that we offer non-credit wise. So anything that's with that, they would just contact our department. We have a conversation, make sure that they're, located in our service area. So Kankakee, Iroquois County, and make sure that it's a class that really is developing their employees. So if they wanted to offer, say, a flower decorating class for their employees, unless it's a florist, it's probably not going to qualify for those funds.
Okay.
So it's got to be professional development related and workforce development related.
So that's a great example, by the way. If I were to come to you and that's something, let's say, you've never done before.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have curriculum on how to.
Sure.
How do you literally build that curriculum and then teach it, or how does that work?
So we find instructors, we contract with instructors. So if it's something that we offer maybe on the credit side, but a business just needs like a short-term class. For example, we have several businesses that have reached out. Our electrical engineering department will do that, where they will, maybe a business needs, hey, we just need, a 4-hour troubleshooting class. We don't need to send somebody to a full credit class. We'll work with our electrical engineering instructors and create a 4-hour class for that business.
Are there any requirements outside of being in the service area?
Being in the service area, and it has to support improving their employees. So whether it be, again, on that leadership side of things, or if it's a requirement like an OSHA requirement. Computer skills is another one that we've seen a rise in, especially at Microsoft Excel. So a lot of times right now, because in K-12 schools right now, a lot of them are Google-based. And so students are learning Google Sheets, Google Docs.
But the workforce hasn't necessarily caught
workforce
up
is
to that.
still, Excel can do a lot more when it comes to that spreadsheet side of things. So we're actually seeing a rise in our Microsoft Excel class, which for a few years kind of saw a dip in because people were learning that, whether it be in K-12 education or in post-secondary education.
I remember learning it, but not very well.
Yes.
And now to this day, I never learned it well.
Yes.
Excel is hard.
Well, if you ever want to, we have several options for classes. That's one that we offer. We offer it once a semester on our what we call open enrollment. So that's just some of these professional development classes are open to anybody. They're scheduled. People can send either employees, and our funding would work for that as well. Or we've also had businesses say, hey, can you come teach these 15 employees? So we'll have an instructor go to their business and teach those 15 employees. And then we also have some online options as well for people.
So that's all the business partnership
That's all the business partnership side of things.
What about the continuing education? Because it sounds very
similar.
Right. Because what you're telling me, I'm like, well, that kind of sounds like continuing education.
Continuing ed, the biggest difference is on the business partnerships, customized training side, we're working with businesses as a whole. On the continuing education side, we do a couple different things in there. So on the professional development side, we do continuing education for healthcare providers. So like nurses that need continuing ed will offer classes with that. We also offer some of those same classes, right? OSHA, CPR, leadership, computer skills training. We offer those on the open enrollment side. So either an individual can come or a business can say, hey, I just have one employee who needs Microsoft Excel training, and they'll join us in one of those classes. We do a couple of other fun things though in continuing ed as well. So we do personal enrichment classes. Those are going to be your hobby type classes. So when I said like a flower arranging class, our most popular class this spring is already full. So I hate to promo it, but is a spring planter class. So, building one of your spring planters for your front porch. That class is already full, but that's an example of a personal enrichment class. Just a hobby class. We have history lectures. We do several different things on that side of things.
Fall under the
lifelong learning. So that's So lifelong learning kind of falls underneath our personal enrichment. So lifelong learning is classes that we design and offer for people 50 and better. That we're celebrating 10 years this year.
Yes,
and
congratulations.
So super excited about that. And we offer those. Some of the classes are kind of in both. And some are really specifically designed for people 50 and better.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. And even with those classes, there can be a cost with some of those classes, but they're usually minimal.
Yeah, we try to keep those classes low cost or no cost, just depending on the class, especially if the class has some materials. If it's say an art craft related class, sometimes there are some material costs. Certain instructors will cost us. We also have instructors that especially for our lifelong learning, will volunteer their time. And we really appreciate that. And that's one of my favorite. That's one of our favorite fun things to do is a lifelong learning side of things.
Yeah, there's so many classes that I see, and I'm like, I want to do that, and then I'm like, does that mean I'm over 50 now in my mind?
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, getting back to like the continuing education and business partnership side of things, how do people get a hold of you if someone's a business owner and they need training for maybe a manager or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
How do they reach out?
Yeah. So they can email us, continuinged@kcc.edu. They can call our office, which is 815-802-8206. They can also go to our website, so kcc.edu/continuinged. And there will be a box on there that says customized training. And there's actually a form that you can fill out online, and that will come to us as well. And we can reach out and contact the business and see what their needs are and get them connected with training. And as long as grant funds are still available, to connect them with those funds.
And then is that an ongoing thing, or is that just for a certain amount of time?
Yeah. So as of the grant that we have right now, it runs through December, but until funds are gone. So if we get a lot of requests and can fund those things, we're not going to hold on to them. So once they're gone, they're gone. But we do need to. This round is done in December. So
well, I do hope that after this episode comes out and people learn, because I know there's business owners that listen to this podcast. They're like, oh, that's perfect because I need training in this. And I don't have a lot of money.
Yeah. And, we're always looking for the best ways to get information out there. So a lot of people in the area maybe receive our mailers every year. We have like a business owners list that we try to send stuff to, but just trying to find different ways to get that information out there.
Are there any success stories that you can share? I don't know how much information you can share and not share, how the privacy thing works.
So, I won't share any business names.
Sure.
But for example, we have a business who was interested in forklift training and training their employees to be able to train other new employees to do forklift training, because that tends to be a very expensive OSHA type training. And so we were able to use those grant funds to help that business train their employees to then train new employees to become forklift operators.
Yeah, I don't know how many people realize. I know there's a lot of jobs in the area that do require forklifts to be run. But for those that don't know, you actually have to have some type of a certificate of certification to actually run that forklift in a warehouse or whatever kind of setting it is. You can't just be hired for the job and say, okay, go ahead and get on the forklift.
Yeah. And that's a 4-hour class.
Yeah.
And we don't offer that on the open enrollment side just because we never know, are we going to run the class and not have enough people? So that is one, like if a business reaches out, that we connect them with an instructor for that.
You must get some very interesting phone calls and emails, right? I mean, because you're saying this is all customized training. So I can only imagine. Is there something very unique that sticks out in your mind?
Not so much on the business side. On the business side, we typically get, usually we'll know that there's maybe a business has had a challenge if they're asking for communication. Hey, we really need some communication skills training. Probably they've had a challenge. And so that's perfect timing, right? That we want to come in and help that business. We don't get so many odd ones on the business partnership side of things. Personal enrichment. There are some people have some ideas of things that they would like to see that we're probably not going to offer sometimes, but we'll offer almost anything that's within. If people are interested in it, and if we can find an instructor, we would love to be able to offer things. So yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Gina. Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to mention?
I don't think so. I think you gave us an opportunity to kind of highlight what we do at KCC in our continuing ed department.
Well, thank you for your support of the Kankakee Podcast. We truly do appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
This river carries on.